In this screencast, I'll revisit an earlier analysis and incorporate what I learned from other experts. Here's where we're headed: a cleaned up and organized Jupyter Notebook with labeled sections. One can easily navigate to see the libraries used, the function definitions, the data cleaning step, and plots that answer specific questions. All hosted for free on GitHub, and I'll show you exactly how I do it, step by step. I've looked at David Robinson's Tidy Tuesday screencast on this and took a lot of notes, looked at a lot of the different plots that he made and everything else, and I would like to reproduce quite a few of them for my own, basically for my own learning. And I wanted to share with you and have let's go on a little journey of how someone learns to get better at using Jupyter Notebooks to do data science. So let's jump in. Okay, I have the imports here. And these functions are from the previous one. So the second pass, I've just copied the notebook, looking at and I'm going to be cleaning it up. So I have the raw to clean function, which takes the raw data and cleans it up. And the only modification I've done so far is to change the major column to be a string title. I'll show you what that looks like. This is what the raw data looks like. This is what the clean data looks like. And this major one goes from all caps to not all caps. And otherwise the data looks relatively straightforward here, nothing else major to clean up. So I'm going to leave that alone, nothing to do. A couple of things here. So I have this distribution of median salaries here, which looks like this. This is okay. Let's just first clean this up. A couple of obvious things to do. Instead of 10 bins, let's do 20 bins. Maybe that looks nicer. I wonder if I can do... I'm using plt.hist. The first thing I'm thinking here is maybe I want to use Seaborn instead. So, is it a hist plot? I think it is. Let's just see what happens there. I actually think that looks nicer. Although it's not too different. But let's do this. I'm going to use Seaborn instead of the default hist plot thing. And I think I'll actually also tweak this. I like the style of using this kind of thing, maybe with a descriptive plot thing here. Let's do 20. And you'll see here what I'm doing in just a second. So I'm creating a figure and an axis that I will then send to Seaborn here. And I'll set that the axis is axis. I like to end with this tight layout thing. I don't need this dot show. Let's just see what happens so far. Okay, that's much bigger. I'm not sure it needs to be that big. 10^6 right now. Okay, that fits on the screen a little bit better. And it's now labeled frequency. Oh, because it's over here. Let me turn off all these things. What is the default here? I'm going to now remove that. Counts versus median. Okay. I think it is better to update the axis labels, but I'm going to do it through the axis instead of PLT. So set x label, median salary. And then I like to copy and paste this thing. So Y label would be, let's just do counts for now. And I like that title, so I'll use the... Okay. Distribution of median salaries. The counts are about 30. Now I guess this is off of all of the things, right? Because there's 30, there's only, yeah, these numbers make sense in terms of total counts. It's 173 rows, and that feels about right here. 20 plus 30 plus 30, so this is 60, 80 plus another 30. Okay, so about 100, and this is the right distribution of all of the median salaries for all of the different majors that we've looked at in this data set. there's some really fun things to do with the number of bins and how the binning works. There's some like Bayesian blocks and a few other ones that have really nice, nice things. We have here a function that creates this. It takes in theory, a number of bins. Let's do that. And let's clean this up one more time. I want to add I want this dollar sign to be, these dollars to be better here. So this is, I have a snippet that I like to use, and I will, it's under my matplotlib one. Yeah, dollar formatting. So you have this way of doing function formatters from matplotlib. Let's see that this works. Okay, function formatter is there. The dollar formatter with cents is this thing, which let's push it with 2 cents there. And then I will set the axis major to be this one. Let's see what happens. Okay, we probably don't want cents actually. Let's do it without cents. Just do dollar formatter 0f. Okay, that actually covers it pretty well. Median salaries. Okay, so this is one way of doing the formatting of the strings. You give it the x-axis in this case, the various, yeah, here's how you format the strings. You use dollars with commas and everything else and no cents. I'll put this at the top of the notebook because this is just otherwise unnecessary. Let me change this. I will put all of the plotting type things kind of as a separate idea. I'll clean this up using a formatter at the end. So this is one of the to-dos, was to have a dollar string format. I guess I should do the thousands. I'll do that later as I come across it. So I have a new function. This one does the median salaries. And it's a function right now. I'm going to just actually remove this and move it up to the functions, so they all live together. Okay, so median histogram. Here's what the histograms look like. This is what the salaries look like. So let's go back to, so that's the first one here. So I'll consider that one done. One thing that David did was he did a box plot of salaries grouping by the major category, which I think is worth doing. And so let's do that real quick. And actually this one I want to see what ChatGPT does. So I'm going to call it, I'm going to give it the label here and go to ChatGPT on this side. And I'll give it a version of the head of the data frame to let it know what it looks like. So create a plotting function that takes a data frame example given and plots the box plot of the median salary as the output of a group by on the major category column. Okay, that is actually remarkably easy to implement. There you are. Not bad. Okay, let's do some more here. Let's tweak this. I need this to be... Give it the axis that I just created there, because I want to change the dimensions of this thing. Okay, that looks pretty good. I would like to use the formatter from this, actually. Because now we have this thing again. So now it actually has this as a bottom thing. And what I wanted to do is actually sort this by median salary per group. Okay, that looks great. Tweak this function to have it plot by order the categories by descending median salary. Well, there you are. Okay, so this is clearly enormous fonts here. So let's change what happens there. I think I've done this font scaling too much. I'll do notebook and I will not scale it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the major category on the left here, it looks like it is in fact going down by and ordered by descending on the median thing with a box plot here. Cool. Something besides box plot. What would be better than box plot? We don't have that many data sets, or that many per thing. So I like this. I think this is good in many ways. We have a median now has dollar signs on it. I will move this to the top. I don't need that anymore. Okay, that looks good. Popularity of each one, total number of students. Okay. So let's go back to this Zettler thing. We've done the box plot of salaries by major. Now, and sorted by median salary. Now do the top end salaries with the P25, P75 percentiles. Okay. There is these little TIE fighter things. So ChatGPT should have the full context of everything here, the P25, P75. So I'm going to say to do the same thing as before. Using the previous function as a guide for how I generally like to organize my plotting functions. Create a new function that takes this data frame and plots the top n highest median salary by major and shows the P25 median P75 as an error bar with P25 being the low, the median being the dot, and P75 being the high end. This is somewhat ambiguous as I've talked about it, but let's see what it actually decides to do for this. Use the last line to the function, your desired one. Let's just try it as is, because I think this is actually going to get there. This is what I previously had done. I had this top n salaries where I gave it top n of 5, and it found it, but this is not the way to present this data. I don't need pyplot in here. And let's see what happens with this. N is not defined, of course. Let's start with 5. So it basically did it exactly as I requested. I'll do top 25, see what this is. But it is descending from the wrong side here. Let me do it from the other way around. So it's top n. Let me ask it to fix it. Okay, looks great, except the top n is ascending in the plot. Can you reverse the... Ah, interesting. Just make that change onto the top N one. I approve. So, petroleum engineering, mining and mineral engineering, all the way down here. And you can see the left and right arrows to this. I like this actually. This is pretty good. I will move this to the top. And actually, I think there's this top, the P25th, this one. I don't think I want this anymore. I'll start with just commenting it out so it's easy to put back if I need to. And I don't want the top 5, that's just silly. Top 25, oh, I need to add the formatter in. I didn't add the formatting. So, okay, at this point, I'm going to split this into a second one. So I'm going to do a new view for this notebook. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to change the top of it without having to worry about changing the lower part. So this lets me do this. So what was I want to do? I want to do the formatting. So that's how the top N now should work. And if I just run this cell over here, I indeed have the salary down this way. I think this figure size is too big again, and it's because I'm zoomed in here while doing these videos, so it's a little bit tough. There, I think that looks actually quite a bit better. Cool. And we're doing a number of things here where, as we go through these plots, actually let's clean up this one, because there's a function on each of these, and that makes it so that when you're reading through this part, you're not seeing a bunch of code necessarily. And if you want to look at the code or reuse part of it, like this $formatter thing, you know how to do that. I will see if I can get ChatGPT to actually make this look better for me. And I'll say I want the x-axis, so this is right now 10 to the 6th, 1 times 10 to the 6th. So I'll have it say, and do it in thousands. Please turn this into a plotting function, similar idea as before, but scale the x-axis values by 1,000. Let's go down by a factor of 1,000. Let's see what it does with this. Here's your new function where the x-axis are scaled down. Plot major popularity, massive figure size, scaling it here in this value. I see. So it's doing an aggregation and altering the aggregation. Okay, I'm okay with that. You can use it like this. Thanks, ChatGPT. It's in thousands, and I need to do a new formatter. I'll just call it thousands formatter. I don't want the dollar sign, just want the thing here. Set major thousands formatter. Okay, that looks good. Now this is way too big, so I'm going to do this again. 10, 6. All right. So now this is another function that I've created to make this plot. And in this case, I'm just going to copy and paste it here because that makes it easier. This comment is not helpful. And I'm actually going to, well, let's see, what do I want to do here? So the Y data profile did a nice job of showing all of the things. I think in the second pass, maybe I don't need to use it. So I think I might get rid of this for this part. And let's see here. Okay, so we have the top N major salaries. We have the popularity total of those things. There's this x-axis sample size versus median thing, which I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, he went with this and said, I want to look at the top yield with a category label. Let's do that actually. So I'm going to redo this plot, or maybe so plot top N salaries. I'm going to tell ChatGPT to add a legend, tweak this function, make the dots for these different for each major category, and add a legend that explains it. Let's see what happens here. Okay, let's just see what happens when I plot it in just directly. Oh, N doesn't exist, of course. Let's do 20, because this is what. Okay, so this is almost correct. I think it actually explained it better here when it was said that we needed to add a hue parameter to the error bar. So let's look at what happened with the original one. We have this error bar here. Okay, this formatting is killing me. I gotta change this. X error is this thing minus that thing. Format color equals black. So this is where that's happening. This is going through the unique categories in the top N, which is this thing here. Well, maybe I can tell it, maybe I can tell it to force it. Like, this is almost good. This is almost right, but what I need it to do. Okay, so let's see if it knows how to do that. This doesn't feel... Oh, actually, it has the location of the ordered majors. This actually might work. Let's see. Copy the code, paste the code. Key error actuator state not in the index. It is trying to find... I'll just give it this error and see what it does with this. So I think I know. I mean, I see exactly what the problem is. I wonder if it can fix it though. Error. It's trying to grab the whole thing at once rather than realizing that that's a separate columns in each one. Oh, it actually thinks it's a different error. Oh, that's interesting. To fix this, we have to do this thing. Okay. This should prevent it. Let's see if we can make this work. Okay. So, engineering, business, and physical sciences. Okay, so this is let's think step by step. Can you do this with a group by and a hue call to either what is this, matplotlib error bar? Okay, let's see if this works. We get an error, but maybe it knows how to get out of it. One thing I really like about ChatGPT is that it's like an eager intern that never gives up. like, nope, not quite right. Oh, here's an entirely new approach. Oh, here's an entirely new approach. No, still not right. So it can be like, oh, it didn't get it right. It's true. It didn't get it right. It needs to, needs some help or whatever. But hey, that basically did it. Except it doesn't have the perfect, except one thing. The error bars are missing. So it's catching that point plot actually does do some special things to figure out what the thing should be. And so it's trying to figure out how to tweak that. Oh no, we're back to matplotlib again. Okay, well, I'm taking bets here. Is this going to work this time or is it not? I think no. Yeah, it's still not going to work. Okay. Oh, the previous one was pretty interesting in that it did the point plot thing. Error width dodge equals true. Well, okay. Actually, court reporting doesn't make sense. There's no way this is the top 20. 20th, let's if I did top 20 here. Mm. Oh, the first version of this one. How does this one get it wrong? Now I'm interested. How did this? So court reporting is not going to work. That is clear. It's clearly not the 20th most expensive salary. It's down here under 60K, and this thing has 100 and whatever. So it takes the DF. Did I redefine DF somewhere? Let's redo the data here. Raw DF. That looks normal. Well, now this is interesting in a different way. What is happening? Okay, here's what needs to happen. I need to take a look at this and figure out what's going on here. So the literal. This is rank by median. Okay, I'm confused. Is court reporting really the right above this? Food science is not available. Electrical engineering is number 23 with a median of 51. Oh, it actually isn't an error. I guess that's the first thing here. So top N is this thing. What does it say on his, actually? What are the top N highest earning majors? It goes through 20, and 20 ends with accounting. Oh, with at least 100 surveyed, I see. So he's doing a filter as well. Okay, I'm gonna have ChatGPT look at this one. I'm gonna say, do this but add a filter. I need to add a thing that says for all of my functions, always try to use F strings if possible. I need to sort values. What? The top N are indeed median, ascending equals false. So this should actually be descending. Well, let's sort by ascending as true, and then what happens here? Okay, well, apparently that is the right way to go. I'm going to stick with this one now. This is the one and true top end salaries that I would like to use. It does have a number. It does filter things. So chemical engineering is on top. It goes all the way down to accounting at the bottom, which is down here, mathematics and accounting. At least 100 surveyed. Okay, cool. What else do we need to do here? We already did this one. Common majors by category, did that one. Most common majors themselves, I don't really care so much. Share of women versus the median. What's the gender breakdown of most plots? Statistical tests. So I've been going for a little while here. I want to make this thing look a little bit cleaner. And I have done these two things. I want to add two things. Well, let's just, actually, I want to see what this looks like now as I push this out to, as I push this back up to GitHub. So I've renamed one thing, I've added a new file, and I've somehow modified the index. That looks right. I will close these. Yes, close and shut down. Close and shut down. And then I need to say nbdev prepare. And we'll see what goes from here. Success. README, Tidy Tuesday. That's fine. New file, modified file, and so on. Don't need the notes or the other one. And git push. And now from here, I suspect the actions will be working, and it's going to fail again. Yeah, the continuous integration piece is going to fail. This one might work though. Not yet. Okay, so what we have is, I can actually look at the I can look at the local version of this thing. So nbdev preview. So it's going to say there's a first pass, and it looks like the thing worked. Second pass is here. Where the plots look a lot better. I have this header example thing that isn't going to be going to GitHub. And let's see what happens here. Okay, pages have been built. So this is what's live now. Let's see what's... Okay, I'm gonna refresh it. First pass. Great. Second pass. Wonderful. Cool. All right, so I'm going to stop there. This is my second pass at this data set. I think it looks quite a bit better than the first pass. I've done a number of things here where I've cleaned up. Let's go to the first one. I've created a bunch of functions here. There's the cleanup file, which is pretty small. A number of plotting functions, which do a couple of cool things here. The things are, well, each plot has its own function associated with it. There's formatting on the different axes, so you can get both the thousands separator and the dollars things set. And yeah, I think it overall looks much improved from the first pass. And I'd like to keep pushing on this, going from here. There's lots more to do. So for now, see you next time. Okay, a new day. I'm gonna just finish up this second pass and then push go on this. So I have the notebook here. I'll go ahead and restart the kernel. And one thing I want to do at this point is look at the structure of the notebook. See how everything is all put together. And one way to do that is look at this table of contents here. The table of contents is useful, especially for jumping around and navigating. I find that to be one of the best use cases for it. But you can also get a good sense of that by doing a Control-Shift left, and this will collapse everything under the same thing as this. So the second pass was the one that had everything, and this is everything else at the same link. So just at a high level, what do we have? We have imports, we have function definitions, we have some data. We have data visualization plots, and then this plot is at the same level as the data visualization plots. So a few things just to clean things up is probably put all the data visualization plots together. So I'll probably need to indent this one or make this a subheading of that one. And also I think what I would like to do is, one thing I really liked about David's approach was that he had questions that he wanted answered, or questions that the plot answered as either the title of the plot or the title of the subsection. So I think I might do the same idea. So let me just run through this and get ourselves going through these things. I'm just doing Shift-Enter here. So I'll just call these plots because this is clear that this is what that's going to be. So the plots is at a 2 heading level here. You can see these 2 pound signs. So then what I want to do here is 3. What is the distribution of median salaries across all majors? So make this a markdown by typing M when you escaped it. And we have this plot here. Now, one thing that's useful when it's so zoomed in like this, or maybe otherwise, if you've escaped, you can do Shift-R to make a side-by-side version of it, so that the output of this is off to the right. This can be useful. I go back and forth between the two things. I didn't do this earlier, but this might be useful at this stage to look at what's happening here. So I have a plot here for plotting the median histogram, and then this one is a box plot of salaries grouped by major category. So this question is probably better as what is the distribution of salaries within each major category. So this is where we have the box plot here that goes and does this. Now, as I look at this, the distribution as a box plot's a standard technique for showing distribution of data. I think the number of majors per category isn't that high, if I remember right. If I say df.groupby, let me see if that actually works. Okay. So yeah, there's a fair few that have like more than 10. So there's several that have like 29 is the biggest one here. I can sort this if I was carrying it. This is just looking at it. So besides just a box plot, there's other ones. There was a funny YouTube video just recently about not to use violin plots, which I understand the point too. I actually think I want to use a violin plot. I do think there's maybe a more interesting version of this box plot called a boxin plot, and maybe it's not actually. There's different names for it. There's like the letterbox plot and things like that, where it does subdivides the quantiles with some metric here, and it captures this. So let's just take a look at what that looks like, and we'll decide with a judgment plot here. I haven't actually done this yet. So here's where I might want to put these things back under and actually do the new view of this thing again. So the function here is median salary box plot here. And if I was just simply to copy this, I'll call it a boxin plot. I wonder if that's the only change I can make. Let's see how lucky we feel. So I need to execute that one, and I need to call this box n plot. Okay, so technically it worked. It technically worked. Let's close this one. There is a difference between these two. Let me make this side by side here. So the box plot gives us a plot that looks like the standard box and whiskers with the outliers. Boxin plot here, there's not that much data, so it kind of looks like the same as the inside of this with some outliers doing stuff. Okay, so in this case, I think boxin plot, not the thing to use. I'm okay with simply using the standard box plot. Maybe I'll go and actually delete that out of this here. So I'll go up to functions and see again, you can navigating through this table of contents thing is really handy. So boxin plot, worth knowing about, but I'm not going to use it. All right, now let's go back down to what is it within each major. Major category, so engineering from top to bottom. Popularity of each major. So let's make this a question. What is the popularity of each major category? I guess this is going to be category. This is by attendance, or by people who actually get the major. So business is most popular, humanities, liberal arts is next, and so on all the way down. Okay, I think that question is adequately answered. Top and median salary. So here's one where, okay, it's again 3. Is this one also 3? 3. So we don't actually care about top 10. We want to say top, in this case, 20, median. What are the top 20 median majors by median salaries? Okay, so I think that is also adequately answered by this plot here. And then it's just time for cleanup. Are there any other plots that I wanted to make? Let me see here. Oh, the gender ratio. So this is for the most popular majors, and then for the major category, and then of course there was this share of women versus the median. Most common. Zoom out a bit. By category. I mean, this was an interesting interactive plot. I don't know that I want to actually do that for my second pass. Maybe for a further pass of this one. Let's do the gender breakdown for most popular majors. Let's do that one. I think just simply copy this directly as the question. Above for A for above for new cell. And so this was a stacked bar chart. I want a grouped bar chart, I think. I have actually restarted my chat GPT. Actually, I can probably rejoin it, but whatever, I'll give it a new one. And I'll see how it does with this plotting idea. I have this data set, which I already have made some plots for. Here are the first couple rows. Create a plot for use this function as a template for how I'd like the function to be written. So let's see, where's my let's go to let's just use this one. This one I think does a fine job of explaining the preferred way that I have of creating a plot. Okay. And while we're in debug mode, I am going to be going left and right here. Using the Seaborn bar plot, using melt, place your data frame, okay. Oh yes, of course. Okay. So let's plop this in. And of course, we can call this df here, because that is indeed the name of my data frame. Let's see what happens. Hey. So this is wrong, clearly. Every single thing here is 50%. So what we need to do is see what's happened here. Oh, and by the way, I like to use the Python formatter black to do these, to reset these things. What is that going on here? There it goes. It makes it easier for me to read. Okay, so top n majors. I think it correctly does that one. And it does a subselection of the ones that are the top majors. And then it says, the major is, the X is the total number, the Y is major, and the hue is gender. And it looks like it's just doing a count. This melt thing. So let's be a little more explicit. The data has the share of women as the fraction here. Actually, I can have it do two things. No, I'll just have it do share of women. I'll tell it, you almost got it. Okay, a couple of things. My data frame is called DF. This is using the gender column, but what we would actually like to use would be, actually, we could do the men and the women separately. Would be the men column and the women column. Currently, yeah, let's just say this. Okay, let's see what happens here. This is always part of the process. When you're plotting something, making something, you plot it, you look at it, and you ask yourself, does this make sense, or has it done, has it done what you hoped it will do? Copy code. Go down here. What is the gender breakdown? An error. This thing. This is going to be an easy fix to do. Error here. Actually, I thought of another thing. I also want it to please sort by descending the majors. This is so fun that this thing is actually just, it knows what to do. You give it the error, say like, hey, you called the thing total here from your total majors, figured out the problem. Also, it's going to just simply fix the situation there. Look at that. So now it's there's no way that this works like this, because nursing is these two together is this big, and psychology alone is bigger than that one. So it's not doing it by what is this explanation here? Value name is changed to count. Fine. Major column will be automatically sorted in descending since we're using n largest to get the top majors. You can now run this. So this is not true. This is not true. The n I'm sure the this is actually sorted fine, but what you grab here in this data frame is if you're in it. That's it. So it's simply the order that it's there. So let's look at how we solved this previously. If you've already solved it once, no need to do it again. Sort values ascending equals false. Ascending equals true. So let's go back here. Give ourselves some space. Let's actually see what happens here. These are the top N. I believe that. That looks right. Let's reproduce this error. It doesn't reproduce the error. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, did I somehow, did I make this mistake? Copy code. We did this below this one. B for below. And the only thing I want to add to it is this dot sort totals is ascending equals false. That's it. It's the only tweak I'm going to make to this. Okay, so somehow I must have copied and pasted some code somewhere. This is just trial code that I can delete. Okay, psychology at the top, that makes sense. Business administration and so on. So this is the gender breakdown for this. And so I like this. I'm gonna do this separately here, escape here to make this thing on the side. And I'm gonna move this to the top here. And merge. So let's just briefly talk about this. Why did I want to do it this way? So here you get a sense of which one has more women and men, and because they're lengths of lines, this is one of the easiest ways to visually compare the difference between these. So you get a sense of like there's a lot more women in psychology, and how many total women are there? There's this many. Or men are there? There's so many. I think this is better than stacking them end to end, because then you're trying to make comparisons in a different way. So I think at this point, I am going to say, I think we're good. And I'll do the check I did previously, which was to look at these things and see what we have here. We have imports, the functions, data cleaning, and plots, and then final cleanup. If I look at what plots there are, I see what are the distribution of median salaries, distribution of salaries within each major category, what is the popularity of each major category. I'm going to try to get what are the top 20 majors by median salaries, what is the gender breakdown for the most popular majors. Cool. And I can expand all of them this way. Take a look. And I think we're probably set here. I'm going to call this good. We've finished the second one. I will now rephrase it this way. Close and shut down notebook. Git add notebook 02, second pass. Actually, what we want to do is do nb dev prepare. Well, this is thinking, oh, success. Now it had a whole bunch of things there. Let's look at the status. Git add readme, NBS index in NBS sidebar. We probably need index files. I'm going to leave the untitled notes out for today, so let's commit. Let's first pull, make sure nothing is weird on that side. And git push. Great. And now we'll go back to the it'll open up thing here. So it is working on the second pass here. And once this is done, the website should be updated and I'll go from there. So I hope this was fun. Hope you learned a little bit of some Jupyter Notebook tips and tricks, as well as some data visualization thoughts. And we'll go from here. So this is already pass 2. And we'll see how this how we keep working on this. See you next time.